It helps if I do that. And there's the delay. So that's why some people left. I was like, oh, I've offended people already. It's only 5 minutes in. Okay, so now YouTube, you can hear me. Tell your friends that left. Okay, so before we take some, say a prayer or kind of get centered and get quiet within ourselves, I want to read some words from Thich Nhat Hanh that really kind of speak to what the daily word was talking about. And I've marked it. Every one of us has the capacity to be mindful, focused, understanding, and compassionate. That quality is in everyone. You can call it Buddha nature. We in Unity call it Christ nature. Doesn't matter what you call it. So when you say, I take refuge in the Buddha, or I take refuge in Christ, you don't mean that you take refuge in a kind of God that exists outside of you. It means that you have confidence in your capacity to understand and to love. When the Buddha was very old, just before he died, he said, my dear friends, my dear disciples, don't take refuge in anything outside of you. In every one of us, there is a safe island we can go to. Every time you go home to that island with mindful breathing, you create a space of relaxation, concentration, and insight. If you dwell on that island in yourself with your mindful breathing, you are safe. That is a place where you can take refuge whenever you feel fearful, uncertain, or confused. Going back to your island, I just skipped a page. Or did I? Going back to your island generates mindfulness and concentration. Whenever you are caught by an emotion like fear, anger, or despair, you go back to the island within yourself and practice taking refuge. I'm sure that you will feel much better after some minutes of this practice. When you find yourself in a dangerous or scary situation, when you are very sick, anytime you don't know exactly what to do, this is what you should practice. If everyone practiced this, there would be enough calm, peace, and clarity for us to get ourselves out of every difficult situation. The practice of taking refuge can bring us joy and peace in our daily lives. That place of refuge is your Christ nature, and it is where you and God meet. And oftentimes we make this much more complicated than it is. It is truly as simple as conscious breaths, conscious breathings. Who knows? Conscious breathing to take you back to that place. It's interesting because the other day when I just completely botched my talking to you, what I recognized kind of after, there were several reasons why it happened, and I know them now. But one of them that I realized was that Bedford came up and did the welcome, and he showed us these 3 really easy practices to get to that place. And then I came up with a bunch of slides and graphs and steps to get you to that place. And apparently all you had to do was yawn. But that's the nature of our minds. minds. We believe that this place, that this kingdom of heaven is somewhere other than where we are and where we sit. And that is simply untrue. And so in this moment, let us enter the kingdom of heaven together. So if Tom will play us, Tom will be our angel, and his guitar will be the harp. That's how I always pictured heaven when I was a little girl. And I thought, how boring. And that's really my thought, like forever and ever and ever. Okay, so he's going to play for us, and we are going to close our eyes, and we're going to do some mindful breathing together. And so as you breathe in and out in your mind, say, I know that I am breathing in. All attention and focus on that. And as you breathe out, I know that I am breathing out. So I'm going to begin now. I know that I am breathing in. If you find your mind starts to wander, just bring it back. And give your mind something to do by saying, I know that I am breathing in. I know that I am breathing out. And your mind will say, give me something interesting to think about. And you smile and you continue to breathe, knowing that it is truly the way to peace and insight and joy. Beauty of doing this together is that we all are beneficiaries of each other's consciousness in this room. When you are ready, you can come back. Did you get there? Still, quiet. That is where wisdom and insight arise from. It comes and enters our thoughts, but our thoughts aren't what get us there. If we follow our thinking, we're going in the opposite direction often, because it really is just as simple as the breaths and getting us centered. And now that we're centered, I'm going to make it much more complicated. So I know that I have often talked to you about the work, and right now my family and I are waiting on some test results, and it is a time where my mind has a tendency to jump forward in the future and, you know, decide all these things that are going to happen, and what I have found to be truly helpful in times where my anxiety is projecting onto the future or telling a story, which is what it is, I go back to the work. And I know that we've talked about the work before, but I found, I think this is important for many reasons. The work is important because we've talked about how we are in a time of conflict where we disagree on how to go forward and the best way forward. And our ego tricks us into believing that we can judge someone enough or criticize someone enough to make them change. And that doesn't work, because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if we truly want to influence, we must be mindful of when our mind goes to judgment. When we speak from a place of non-judgment, people can hear us. When we speak with the intention to explain, not to convince or convert, people can hear us. But first, we've got to deal with our judgments, right? What I love about this book, this is Byron Katie's A Mind at Home with Itself, and this is the newer book. The one I'm going to read to you now is her doing the work with someone on a judgment. But what I love is that she explains what's happening in the process of the work in real time. So you can really get a sense of what you are to do, rather than it just being, can you guys see that? The 4 questions. So these are the 4 questions. We'll go over them first before I start to read. For YouTube, I'm sorry, you can't see it, so I'm going to read it for you. The first question is it true? The second question is, can I absolutely know that it's true? The third is, what happens when I believe that thought? What happens when I believe that thought? See, most of the world walks around just believing everything that they think, which is cuckoo birds, because you'll think one thing one minute and the exact opposite in the next, and you believe them both in the moment you believe them, in the moment they arise, right? So what happens in me when I believe that thought? 4, how or who would you be without that thought? In this exact situation, who or how would you be if you just couldn't think that thought? Okay? So I'm going to let Byron Katie take it away. And this kind sir, I'll let him tell you. So here he is reading from his worksheet. Remember, there are worksheets with the work. You can find those at thework.com. They're absolutely free. You can print worksheets, and I've shared with you many times that I did the work for so many years consecutively. I have notebooks full of the work. And the thing I like to say is that every time I would be talking to my husband, and I'd just stop and turn and go get the notebook, and he'd be like, uh-oh. Because he knew what that meant. Okay, so here we go. This is Arthur. He's reading from his worksheet. I am furious with my mother because she attacks me, judges me, and thinks I'm not good enough. This is Katie. Okay, there are 3 things we can question there. 1, she attacks me. 2, she judges me. 3, she thinks I'm not good enough. These are 3 separate inquiries. Or we can do them all at once. when you're filling in statement 1 on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, I invite you to see if you can identify which one of your statements has the most charge for you, and you begin there. So let's say, and I'm going to pause here, let's say that I don't believe that I should wear a mask. And I'm angry that other people are imposing upon me this requirement, right? So I'm angry at Unity of Appleton because they are requiring that I wear a mask if I go on Sunday, right? There's a good one. Can you sense that I'm wanting you to do the work on some specific issues right now? These are the issues that I think we need to do the work on. And here's the thing, your mind will go, but what about all of them? They're not doing the work. They're the ones that need the work. I know what I'm doing, you know. It's got to start here. And because we're all one, it shifts things. It shifts things when you talk. Okay, so and what you've written is okay. You could take yourself through inquiry using all 3 at once, but I'm more curious than that. I've got to know the effects of each concept on my life. I don't want to wait to be free. I'm going to answer all 4 questions for each concept and then turn it around. And then I'll give you pointers here. And at the same time, just know that you can't do it wrong. I'm just going to show you from experience, from a lot of experience, how to cut to the chase to get what you came for in the most powerful way possible. So read it again. I am furious with my mom because she attacks me, judges me, and thinks I'm not good enough. Sorry. I'm not going to have you question the part where you say I'm furious with mom. I'm going to have you question what's causing your furiousness. So read these 3 things again. She attacks me, judges me, and thinks I'm not good enough. Okay, so she attacks you. That's the first one. Let's go there. In that situation, your mom attacked you. Is it true? And now she's saying to the audience, how many of you just saw this man in your mind being attacked by his mother? How many of you just saw in your mind saw this man being attacked by his mother? Okay. And we've never even met him or his mother. And our mind just gave us a mental picture and a story. Lucky you, Arthur says, because she says we haven't even met his mother, and he says, lucky you. And the audience laughs. Katie, this is her. So, your mother attacked you. Is it true? Now, how are you going to answer the question? Are you going to guess? Or are you going to meditate on that moment in time and let it show you the answer? That's the key to these questions. You're meditating on the questions. You're becoming curious about the questions and sitting in them, steeping in them. The work is meditation. Get very still and look closely at the situation, at the image of you and your mother. The images may be really vague, but just sit in them until you see that she did or she didn't attack you. Now, the answer to the first 2 questions has 1 syllable only. It's either yes or no. This is important. It's 1-syllable answers when you ask these questions. It's yes or no. So watch how your mind is going to say, well, not really, but well, yeah, she really did. That's not it. You need to get still until a clear answer of yes or no appears. Your mother attacked you. Is it true? Arthur, no. So she's saying to the audience. Now, because he answered no, we skip to the second question and move to the third. So if he had said yes, or if you had said yes, then can I absolutely know it's true? And this is what I was doing when I was catastrophizing about this future. I said, is it true? Well, maybe. Can I absolutely know that it's true? No, I cannot absolutely know that's true. So then I go to the next. What happens to me? What happens in me when I believe the thought that this is going to happen. And my stomach clenches and I cry and I become sad and frantic and begin Google searching ad nauseum. And then I went to, well, who would I be in this moment if I just couldn't think this catastrophizing thought about the future in these test results? Who would I be in this moment? Well, I would be clear, empty, present, aware, just awareness without that thought. And that's where bliss is. So he answers no. Your mother attacked you. Is it true? No. So now, because he answered no, we skip to the second question and move to the third. And I'm going to keep reminding him of that one-liner. Your mother attacked you. How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? One reason I do that is so that I can remember the concept we're working with. And I don't have to know what I'm doing. I don't have to remember the one-liner. I can just write it down. Okay, but to Arthur. Now, go into the situation where you believe she was attacking you. And that silence, witness how you reacted. Did you attack her in return? Did you pout? Did you give her the cold treatment? Notice your emotions. Just witness and report. Report how you reacted in that situation as you witness it. We go through life, mother realized. We know what she did, but we're not self-realized. We're so busy judging other people that our self-realization is hidden under our judgments. Can you feel that? We cannot be self-aware in a moment where we are judging someone else because we are other-aware, not self-aware. So be still. Witness how you react in that situation when you believe the thought, she attacked me. I lash out. I shout at her. I feel trapped. I feel angry. I feel like there's nothing I can do. I'm powerless. Now we'll go to the fourth question. So in that situation, who would you be without the thought, my mother attacked me? I'd be peaceful. I'd be, just witness the situation without your story that she attacked you. Drop your judgments and witness you and her without all these thoughts on top of her. Who or what would you be without the thought, she attacked you? I'd just be someone standing in a kitchen, talking on the phone. So go into the image. I am standing in a kitchen, listening to my mother, open to what she's saying, there for her, there for myself, I suppose. Okay, and I want you to get closer than I suppose. Yeah, closer, closer. And sometimes I suppose is as close as you can get, and that's okay too. But we're going for the real deal here. No one can give that to you. It's already in you. You can see it. It was already there, and now you're dropping your story long enough to see something else. What is she saying to you? Listen. She was saying to me, she was asking if she was welcome to come and visit me. She'd asked that question many times before, and I'd always said yes. In other words, she said, can I come see you? And you put a story onto it. Yes. So who would you be without the thought she attacked me? Who would you be just answering her question? Well, yeah, I answered, yes. And then I freaked out, but I could have just answered yes. Or no, says Katie. Or no, looking astonished, says Arthur. Wow, I could have answered no? That would have actually been more honest. I prefer you didn't. The audience laughs. Wow, it never occurred to me that I could have done that. Okay, I could have answered no. Okay, yeah. Actually, Mom, no. Oh, wow. Okay, wow. So do you see what was happening is that he wanted to say no. So he needed a story of her attacking him so he could say no. We're meditating on a moment in time and allowing that moment to enlighten me. So your mother attacked you, turn it around. I attacked my mother. Give me an example in that situation on that phone call of where you attacked your mother. Well, yeah, I very liberally attacked her, actually. I shouted at her. I told her she was impossible. I told her, slow it down, close your eyes, and tell me as it's shown to you. So she's saying, close your eyes and let your, because this is what happens. When we tell a story, our mind gives us images, right? It's like watching a movie. So she's inviting him to slow it down and watch and just say in real time as he's looking at it, what he sees. I said a lot of really hurtful things to her, actually. I said that no matter how hard I tried, I was never good enough for her, that she was impossible. I was screaming at her. So, can you find another turnaround for my mother attacked me? What's another opposite? I attacked me? Yes. In that situation, as you look back, where did you attack yourself? I attacked, and he begins to cry. I attacked me because I was the reason I felt the way I did about my mom was because she, and I could question this, but I perceived that she doesn't accept that I'm gay. I wasn't there for me in terms of supporting myself and knowing that it's okay to be who I am. And if my mom believes otherwise, that's not my problem, it's hers. But I felt that was true. And so I did attack me because I didn't think I was good enough. Yes, your own fear, your own homophobia. And I'm going to stop there. But she goes on. Obviously, she's going to make him question every single one of those. Byron, Katie doesn't let you get away with anything. But can you feel the power of that? Of questioning it? Of slowing it down? We've got to be willing to slow it down, though. And willing to see, what the requirement is that I care more about the truth than I do about being right or my story. When we're committed to truth with a capital T, and the thing is, the truth will set you free every time. That truth that we're so afraid of seeing is actually the key to our happiness and our freedom. So at this time where we're judging one another, where we are, where the pandemic was over and now it's not over, before, all this is a moment where, it's doubtful that we're going to go back to that kind of lockdown situation. It's doubtful that that's going to happen. So we're going to be out in the world, at least sometimes. And that is on purpose. It's because we're ready to love each other and to find common ground. And the podcast I did this week, I featured the story of Unity and what happened between two of the people sitting here. I'm not going to say their names in case you don't want people to know. And I didn't say your names then. But a beautiful thing happened. We had two people that felt differently on the issue. And they were in the same room. And they weren't hating each other. And they weren't judging each other. They just were here, and that's what it takes. We have to come together with people with whom we disagree. And if we come together with judgment, it's not going to get any better. My father was a Vietnam veteran, as most of you know, and every veteran that I've talked to, every war veteran that I've talked to, and my dad is included in this, I don't know if he said this directly or if it's just something I extrapolated from what I heard him talking about, but the only way to go to war and kill another human being is that we dehumanize them. They have to become not human in order for those things to happen. In order for someone to raise arms against someone else, we have to dehumanize each other. And dehumanization starts here. And it starts with our judgments of each other right now. And it's subtle because your mind doesn't go, they're not human. Your mind judges them and they become not human. It's not explicit, it's implicit. It's a way of, it's a feeling that happens. And I know that we don't want war. We don't want war. We're all one. These are our brothers and our sisters. We are one. What I do to you, I do to myself. So if we are committed to not war, if we are committed to peace, then we must become responsible for our judgments. I'm going to read just one last thing. This is a note that I took, and it's from Eckhart Tolle, and I don't know if it was one of his books or if it was an interview, but what he said is, there is nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. There is nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. Righteous. I've shared with you that my husband and I are doing couples counseling, and we're doing something called the Gottman method. And one of the things that happens is there's these worksheets, and it gives us, it gives us kind of a script to unpack everything. And it gives us this list of feelings. I felt, and you can pick the ones you felt. And after a couple of these worksheets, what I realized was a theme in the way that I felt. And I always felt like I was right and he was wrong, morally justified, all of righteous. And what that's called is contempt. And if you had said, Lydia, you're contemptuous, I would have said, no, I'm not. I'm spiritual leader of Unity of Appleton. I'm not contemptuous. But I promise you I was, but I didn't know that I was until I was willing to look at it. And I noticed the theme, and I'm like, holy cow, I feel the same way every time we have an argument, and it's that I'm righteous and you're wrong. You know what I mean? So what I wanted to say to you is there's nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. So I would leave those disagreements and those arguments righteous and justified and full of ego. Not because I wanted to be full of ego, but because I didn't understand that I was strengthening it in my righteousness. We got to turn it around. And that's this critical last step. Turn it around. And now I've been doing the work so long that it lives in me and my mind does it automatically. So the turnaround she gave was, she attacked me. What's the turnaround? I attacked her. And did you see how he attacked her? The turnaround is the key. And here's some examples. She attacked me, I attacked me. She attacked me, I attacked her. Even if it's in your own mind, even if you never say it aloud. What do we talk about in Unity? Everything begins in the mind. Thoughts held in the mind become material things. We got to catch it while it's in here, right? I just want to say I'm right. Okay. So, we all on board? We know what we got to do? And there's plenty of those others we can judge right now. So you don't have to look around for long to find somebody to do the work on. Let's talk. I love this part. This is my favorite part. Okay, you guys, you need to come here. We're all wearing masks. Come here. Because you miss it. And somebody told me on when I spoke to him that he was so excited because I was reading last week from the gift, and he was excited to hear what I had to say about, you know, what she said. And I stopped and turned it off. And then we talked about what I thought about what she said. So the answer is come here. No, that person is out of town. So he can't. So, you know, we'll figure out a way to zoom you in. All right. Love you guys. Come in person with your masks. We're here. We love you. All right.